Hello students, in this video we are going to do the explanation of Chief Seattle's speech from page number 44, 45, and we will begin from page number 44, the first paragraph that begins here. We have already done about the Chief Seattle speech, how he started, what he said, that how Big Chief has been kind enough to give us a nice proposal of friendship and asking the red people to shift to one corner of the land and give the rest of the land to the white. And he, in a very sarcastic manner, he says that our people are so less, they do not even deserve any respect now, and they do not equally require such big vast area of land, and that is why it is good and it our benefit only that we shift to one area, so that at least we are together, all people of the same clan. Later onwards, he gives the comparison how not comparison, sorry, later on he gives the reasons and points on how he discriminates or shows the differences between the red people and the white people. The first difference that he shows is, he says that your God is not our God and can never be our God, because in that ways he will have to help us to prosper and return to the same greatness, and in doing so he will have to save us against you, and he will have to make us prosper, and that means still he will have to work against you. And your God is not our God, because your God walked with you, gave you the law, but he never came to his red-faced children when we were teaming up in this land, and we were in huge number over here on this particular land, and we were like stars. But then also he never paid any heed to come to us and give us or guide us. So our great spirits guide us, but they have also forsaken us, and that is why at this particular point of time we feel that we are like the orphan children who have nowhere to look. After this we continue from page 44, first paragraph, and it is, to us the ashes of our ancestors are sacred, and their resting place is hallowed ground. You wander far from the graves of your ancestors, and seemingly without regret. Your religion was written upon tablets of stone by the iron finger of your God, so that you could not forget. The red man could never comprehend or remember it. Our religion is the traditions of our ancestors, the dreams of our old men, given them in solemn hours of the night by the Great Spirit, and the visions of our sachems, and is written in the hearts of our people. So here he says another example, that he says that for us the ashes of our ancestors is also very sacred. They are put up buried in the ground, and those grounds are considered to be hallowed grounds, or very sanctified, anointed, or pure sacred grounds for us. We can never live away from those grounds. We are always very much connected to those ancestors through those grounds and through those spirits, which we feel that they come to us in the evening, in the quiet time of the evening. But as per your particular culture, he says, I can see that you have your ancestors buried in some other place, that means probably in Europe, and you are crossing seas and coming far across the seas to this another land, and you hardly pay any attention to where your ancestors were and where they have been buried. For you, once your ancestors die, you totally get off from them, you just cut off from those relations and you forget them. So it is like you are totally different in that aspect from the red people. Then besides that, he says your God came with you, and he preached and taught you everything. He even gave you laws written by him on the with his iron finger on the stone tablets. These are like the 10 commandments which were given in Christianity. So he mentions that, and he says they were given to you, and you had to go and abide to those rules and laws. But for us, we will never be able to understand those laws. We will never be able to comprehend, understand those things. Rather, we will not be able to remember them, because for us, our traditions which we day-to-day in our day-to-day normal life we do, and the knowledge that we have got from the guidance of our sacred spirits, whatever those traditions are, we usually live them. And that is why we do not have any particular such rules and laws which are written somewhere, but rather you can simply understand that our rules and laws which we live by, they are all written on our hearts, and that is why we totally live them. We are connected to them, and we don't have to remember them like that as you would do in your commandments and things written somewhere for you. Your dead cease to love you, and the land of their nativity, as soon as they pass the portals of the tomb and wander away beyond the stars. They are soon forgotten and never return. Our dead never forget this beautiful world that gave them being. They still love its verdant valleys, its murmuring rivers, its magnificent mountains, sequestered vales, and verdant-lined lakes and bays, and ever yearn to intender fond affection over the lonely-hearted living, and often return from the happy hunting grounds to visit, guide, console, and comfort them. So he says, this is what I have explained to you earlier. He says, when your people die, your ancestors die, as soon as they die, they pass through a particular portal, a particular passage of different realms. So they pass through a portal, and from their tomb they start wandering to the different star world of stars, and beyond or far beyond and away from this worldly realm. So they are once dead, they are forgotten from here, they are cut off from there, they are totally away from you, and you have no connection with your dead. But for us, our people, when they die, they are never able to forget and leave this world. For them, the death is just a transformation of the realms. From a physical realm, they come to the spiritual realm, but they keep on coming back to this world, this particular area, land, which were full of beautiful valleys and forests and lakes and bays, which have always given meaning to their being. And that is why they are also connected to this land, to the different aspects and features of this land, that they usually come in the quiet time of the evening, and they are connected to their you can say people. So that is why they come back, and they give you can say guide them, they console them, they give them wisdom, they give them comfort, and tell them all the different things of knowledge. And that is how we get all the knowledge from our ancestors. So this is how he says we are connected so much to our ancestors, and our ancestors are dead, are so close to us, and we cannot live away from these grounds, these areas, this land. And that is how we have a connection with our ancestors, which unfortunately the white does not have. This is another reason how they are different from the red-faced people or red people. Next he says, day and night cannot dwell together. The red man has ever fled the approach of the white man, as the morning mist flees before the morning sun. However, your proposition seems fair, and I think that my people will accept it and will retire to the reservation you offer them. Then we will dwell apart in peace, for the words of the great white chief seem to be the words of nature, speaking to my people out of dense darkness. So he says, like night and day cannot be together at one point of time, at one particular place. Similarly, wherever there has been red man, there is no white man, and whenever a white man has arrived, red man has always run away, fled the approach of the white man. Just like when there is, in the morning, when there is a lot of mist, you cannot see anything, but as soon as the sun rises, the mist goes away, fades away, or vanishes. So the same thing, you can see all the red man, but as soon as the white people come, the red man vanishes, or they are away from that area. So that is how it is. And he says it is such a good proposal that you have given, the white chief or the big chief has given, and that is something which is in the benefit of our people only. The place you have given us to retire at, to go as a reservation means allotted to us, where we might go, and it will be good for us in our benefit, because in that case we will be able to dwell peacefully. You will dwell in the rest of the land which you have taken away, and we will, or our people, red people, will dwell in the small place that has been reserved for us. We will stay in our own area, and that is how we will not bother you. You will not be you will not bother us, and we will not be interfering each other's places or each other's paths. And that is how he says that your words, your proposal seems to be the most befitting thing for our people. It seems as if the nature is speaking to my people, because our people are in total darkness. We are, you can say, in total despair. We don't know what to do, what is there for us in the future. So I hope that these words of yours give a little bit of future for our generation, for our tribe, that we will be living happily and peacefully in the small area that will be given to us. That is the only thing we can feel, that it is a sound coming from the nature, from dense darkness. You can say a ray of hope coming from the total darkness of despair for the red people. In that he says, it matters little where we pass the remnant of our days. They will not be many. The Indians' night promises to be dark. Not a single star of hope hovers above the horizon. Sad-voiced winds moan in the distance. Grim fate seems to be on the red man's trail, and wherever he will hear the approaching footsteps of his fell destroyer and prepares stolidly to meet his doom, as does the wounded doe that hears the approaching footsteps of the hunter. So here he says, it does not matter where we are going to pass the rest of our days, because there are hardly any people left in our tribe now. Most of them are old. There are no new people coming up who will pass on the generation or culture from generation to generation. So sooner or later our tribe is going to come to an end. So the Indians night, Indians does not mean the people belonging to India. It is basically talking about the Red Indians. So here he says, we the Red Indians, we our night is going to be very, very dark. Why? He says we do not have any ray of hope, no light, no particular star shining above the horizon, means there is no particular ray of hope for us, not even the dimmest of lights coming for us. So our people, our culture, our tribe is totally doomed. We know that, and we are just waiting for our particular fellow destroyer or the person, white people, for them to come and approach our lands later onwards, the land they have given to us, and from there also they'll ask us to leave, or they'll rather kill us, or we will soon be vanished from that land also. We are just going to go to that place so that we can pass rest of the days waiting when our destroyer will come, and then we'll be waiting for our destruction. Just like a wounded doe, when it is resting at a place because it cannot move any further, it can just wait for the hunter to come and then finally kill it and make its life come to an end. So the same way we are also going to wait there till our destroyer comes and end our culture and our tribe. Later he says, a few more moons, a few more winters, and not one of the descendants of the mighty hosts that once moved over this broad land or lived in happy homes protected by great spirits will remain to mourn over the graves of a people once more powerful and hopeful than yours. So few more moons, few more winters means few more days, few more months and years, and then after that none of our descendants would be alive. No people from our tribe will be alive, and our tribe would be gone, depleted totally into the history. We will become a history. And this was the particular big tribe, big group of people which once survived, you can say flourished in these grounds, covered the entire land over here, and we were guided by our great spirits. But unfortunately we had to meet the end of our destiny, end of our tribe. It was an untimely decay and untimely fate of my people, that the entire tribe, the entire you can say group of people came to the entire group and tribe came to an end. But why should I mourn at the untimely fate of my people? Tribe follows tribe, and nation follows nation, like the waves of the sea. It is the order of nature, and regret is useless. He says I should not be mournful about it. I should not be regretting and feeling grieved by this particular thing. It is something which should happen, which always has happened. It is the law of the nature that one tribe goes and the other follows. As one nation grows to power, and then when it comes down to the power, the other rises to the power. It is just like the waves of the sea. One goes and behind it the other one approaches, and soon it is overtaken by the second wave. So that's how he says it is the law of nature and regret is useless. Today we are going to go vanish and get destroyed, the entire tribe. Someday your tribe will also face the same thing, and some new other tribe is going to come to power. Your time to decay may be distant, but it will surely come. For even the white man whose God walked and talked with him as friend to friend cannot be exempt from the common destiny. We may be brothers after all, we will see. He says it is going to be our time today, that our tribe is coming to an end. It is going to go into the history, but soon your tribe will also have the same decay and destruction, and then white people will also see the same doom of their own tribe. Your God who walked and talked with you will also not be able to save your tribe from that, and that is the law of nature. So your people will also come to an end. Your particular culture and generation and tribe will also have its destiny that will be decayed. That is, destiny will be your tribe will also come to an end and it will be doomed. And then we can say we are brothers, because then your destiny and our destiny will be similar, that we rose to glory, we had a glorious time, and then we were overtaken by some other power, or we were, for some or the other reason, we had our decay of our tribes. So then it will be that we can say we are brothers, because we will have the similar ending to our generations and tribes. Next paragraph, he says, we will ponder your proposition, and when we decide, we will let you know. But should we accept it? I here and now make this condition, that we will not be denied the privilege without molestation of visiting at any time the tombs of our ancestors, friends, and children. Every part of this soil is sacred in the estimation of my people. So he says, we are going to feel that, we feel that your proposition is very good, your proposal is very good. Whether we accept it or not, we will decide and let you know. But before doing that, I want to put my one condition there in front of you, and that is, we will not be denied any entrance to this land, because this is the holy ground, burial ground of our ancestors, and that is very sacred to us. We are so connected to it. That is why we want that without any filter, without any restriction, we would be allowed to at least come and pay a visit to our burial grounds, to other holy, to the old spirits, basically, which are there, great spirits for us to guide, and they talk to us, come to us, and give us the knowledge. They are the spirits of our ancestors, friends, children, and we are connected to them, and they are equally connected to us. Every part of the soil is so sacred and holy for us, for the people of our tribe. Every part of the soil is sacred in the estimation of my people. Every hillside, every valley, every plain and grove has been hallowed by some sad or happy event in the days long vanished. Even the rocks, which seem to be dumb and dead as they swelter in the sun along the silent shore, thrill with memories of stirring events connected with the lives of my people, and the very dust upon which you now stand responds more lovingly to their footsteps than yours, because it is rich with the blood of our ancestors, and our bare feet are conscious of the sympathetic touch. So here he gives a particular explanation which shows how much they are connected to this land. He says every hillside, every forest, grove, everything is so connected to us, our people, because they are the witnesses of the happy or the sad events of the people long gone, events long gone, vanished. They are the witnesses of all those memories, and even these stones which you feel they are sitting over there dumb, without any movement, dead, they are also the witnesses of various events, and the things they have seen over here, they are like the silent witnesses of our culture, of the glory of our culture, and then the decay of our culture. They have so many stories to tell about our culture. They are the witness of all the things, and so we can say they thrill with memories of stirring events, and that is why they are connected to the lives of my people. He says even the dust on which you walk with your shoes, you cannot feel the sympathetic touch of that dust, that land, but our people can feel that this land is sympathetic, its touch is sympathetic towards the bare feet of our people, because the land over here is totally full of the blood of our ancestors, and that is why we can feel that sympathetic touch, because we are connected to our ancestors, and this land is connected to our ancestors as well. And that is why we are so we have a very, you can say, deep rooted connection to this land. We can feel that through our footsteps on our bare feet, also the sympathetic touch, the you can say nice and smooth touch of the dust and land on our feet, which is for us, not for the white men. Our departed braves, fond mothers, glad, happy-hearted maidens, and even the little children who lived here and rejoiced here for a brief season, will love those somber solitudes, and even at eventide they greet shadowy returning spirits. And when the last red man shall have perished, and the memory of my tribe shall have become a myth among the white men, these shores will swarm with the invisible dead of my tribe. And when your children's children think themselves alone in the field, the store, the shop, upon the highway, or in the silence of the pathless woods, they will not be alone. In all the earth there is no place dedicated to solitude. At night, when the streets of your cities and villages are silent, and you think them deserted, they will throng with the returning hosts that once filled them, and still love this land, beautiful land. the white man will never be alone. So he says our departed ancestors, those who were like the fond mothers and happy hearted maidens and little children who lived over here for a small period of time, they loved these solitudes, and in the evening they would be returning as the shadowy spirits, returning spirits. And then when the last man, red man, had perished, even then, even after years after that, when it will be the entire land covered with the white people and their children and children's children, they will be living over here. You would forget about our culture, about our people, but even then our spirits, or we will be returning over here in huge number, in multitudes, in the form of the spirits, because for us death is just a change of the realm from physical to spiritual, and we are connected to this land. So when your children will think, the white people will think that they are alone in the fields, stores, shops, anywhere, at that time, even in the pathless woods, the forests where you don't have any path, even those areas, when they are there and they feel they are all alone, our people will be there in huge number in the form of the spirits surrounding the white people. So white men will never be alone in any of the part of this land, because our people will be returning in the form of the spirits, and we will be totally on this land, in every part of this land. And that is how he says our people will be returning here and living over here in the spiritual form, who once loved this beautiful land and covered this beautiful land in the physical form also. So that is how he says you will never be able to get our people out of this land. We will always be here. We had been here before you, and we will be here now and forever in the form of the spirit. You will never be able to drive the red man out of this their native land, of this land. So let him be just and deal kindly with my people, for the dead are not powerless. Dead, did I say? There is no death, only a change of worlds. So he says that is why the big chief should be very kind to my people, and he should not think that our great spirits or our dead people are powerless, they cannot do anything. And then he corrects it and says, did I say death? Well, in our particular culture, we do not have death as you might think, that end of everything. For us, death is just a new beginning to a different realm, from the physical realm to the spiritual world realm. It is just the change of the worlds. And that is how he says, you might think that powerlessly we have been killed, we are powerless, we have been killed and we have been destroyed, the entire tribe has been destroyed and has depleted. But for us, it will be that in the physical form we were weak, but now we have captured this entire land in the spiritual form. Our people are once again the people living on this land in the spiritual form. So that is how he gives a very, you can say, a letter which is full of his anger also, his sarcasm also, yet it shows his helplessness also. But he even still gives the warning to the white people that do not consider us weak, and do not think that you will be able to drive us out of our land. We will always be the owners and masters of this land, whether in this form or in the other form, whether in this world or in the other world. So that is how the speech comes to an end. This is not the entire speech. This is just a part of that speech, though it's a longer speech. But we have done this much so that you can get a proper understanding what Chief Seattle wants to tell to the big chief or the white chief. So with this, we come to the end of the first story, and we have done the revision of all the poems, all the stories, as well as Shakespeare. Now we will be moving on to the second part of the revision that we'll do in a different way. So with this, we come to the end of the revision of the stories.